All right. Welcome everybody to the Kinesio Outdoor Podcast, where my goal is to educate you on how to safely enjoy exercise indoors and outdoors, inspire you to experience life outside, and encourage you to live a more active life closer to nature. Today on the podcast, I have Gunnar. Thanks, Gunnar, for taking the time out of your day to have this conversation with me. And how are you?
Great, thank you, Stefan. Appreciate you having me on here. And great, just got home from work, and here we are, man. 100% authentic, Kyle. Let's go.
Sweet. Yeah, let's do it. So, for those of you that don't know, Gunnar is the founder and owner of Ghost Bull Hunting Equipment. Is that right?
Ghost bull hunting. Yep.
Sweet. Yeah. What that is, for those of you that don't know, is Gunner's based out of Astoria, and he sells the highest quality that I've seen rain gear and really, really high quality UPF. He calls them biddles. They're long sleeve hoodies that I love that I use for hunting. I don't need to, but I have to. Probably going to get another one here pretty soon. So that's kind of how I met Gunner. But Gunner, you said you got home from work. What else do you do besides Ghost Bull?
Well, I still work full time because numbers mitigate emotion. So I'm a professional mariner turned seamanship instructor. So, we call it in this maritime industry swallowing the anchor, meaning you take a job on the beach. You're not gone on a tugboat or ship up and down the coast or whatnot. But that way I get to stay married. I never miss hunting season. And yeah, I get to do my dream, ghost bull hunting. I can't wait to do it full time.
Yeah, that's right. And since I met you, I think I met you in 22, so 2 years ago. It seems like you've been growing quite a bit. You seem to be going to a couple more shows. I know you have your website now, so things definitely seem to be growing. Before we get into the success of your business, why don't you take 5 to 10 minutes, let the listeners know who you are, um, how you got to be into hunting, maybe a bit of your family life. I know you are a pretty successful fisherman as well. If you have any like parents or siblings that were really influential, I know you have some kiddos and a spouse. So why don't you just let us know who Gunner is, and we'll kind of move forward from there.
Right on. Sounds like a winner. Yeah, Gunnar Allen, born and raised Astoria, Oregon, 54 years here on this earth and in this area. It's always been a great place to home base as a mariner or whatever. Could always come back to, and lots of hunting and fishing, of course. Day number one, but nice pace of life, and really enjoyed growing up here. And we used to have a family tree farm, best property around that had tons of elk and deer and a beautiful trout pond, and learned how to be a man, meaning I started cutting firewood and splitting wood at age 5 and learned how to work my ass off since age 5. So work ethic has been a huge part of my life. Wouldn't change it, growing up country, just what a blessing of a life it's been. Grew up on that farm. First day home from the hospital after being born, set foot there, and been in the woods ever since. I'm never going back. Hell, the woods are the only thing that makes sense nowadays in this crazy world. Oh my God, talk about a true escape and healing experience being out there. Just tough day at work. Stepped out on the stream there the other night and threw some flies and caught some nice little trout, and it's just you just unplug and just leave the world behind and step into reality, what true life is. And yeah, hunting is life to me. But yeah, I have a wife, uh, daughter, and I have a son. He's in the same industry. He's a captain at the Washington State Fair. He's got all his pilotage done, so he'll be a Puget Sound pilot here in the near future. Yeah, he went above the old man here, and I'm proud. He's far eclipsed me in my career, and but that's all right. That's the way it should be, and I'm damn proud of him. Damn proud of him. And my little girl, she's a soccer playing extraordinaire and loves horses and surfing, and God, she does it all. I can't even keep up with her anymore, but I'd love to get her out hunting a lot more. And Mama's a city girl, and I'm a country boy, so she's got the best of both worlds. And she's 13, going on 31, minus the cursing and the boozing. I'll tell you what, that girl is. She's God. She, like I said, I can't keep up with her. She's awesome, and yeah, I hope she steps more into the hunting side again, and hopes in hopes of later on down the road, I hope she marries a country boy that likes to hunt. So she takes after dad. Maybe that'll be the ticket to get her back into it. I don't know. But love my family and love hunting. I love the outdoors. So
Well, great. Yeah, thanks for that. And now that we've kind of mentioned that, you did mention your hobbies and your interests. It sounds like anything outside, fishing, hunting. So, why don't we get into what your business is, kind of the story of how you started your business, and then I want to hear the story behind the name because those that don't know Roozies, I definitely want to hear the story. I want to hear it from you rather than just reading it on your website. So why don't you get
yeah,
into the history of your business and then what you guys sell, and then we'll kind of regroup.
right on. Love to. Yeah, back in 2006-ish, 2007, the idea popped into my head there because on that old tree farm, we grew timber and you know, it- logging and all that good fun stuff. And it's primo elk country, but we had an old waterworks system we were grandfathered into because that waterworks is a mile away and it wasn't on our actual property. So we had that mile long trail through timber and, rugged ground. And I always saw deer and elk on the way up. But I maintained it. And back in those years there, I'm wearing these old Sims waders, Hodgman waders, whatever would last, to muck out that dam there. It silted in pretty good. And so, yeah, hiking up all year round through all seasons there. I'm staying dry in this stuff, even when I'm packing tools and a chainsaw. And, I've got a zip blow down timber up and I'm walking through sticker bushes when the summer growth comes on and whatever. I'm thinking, damn, this would make some good rain gear. Why the hell am I not wearing rain gear? And or Filson tin pants. They're too damn heavy and cumbersome. Great, but not real conducive to sneaking and stalking in the brush. They're pretty loud and heavy, and so I thought, yeah, let's take a look into this. Drop the ball on myself for life gets in the way, numerous reasons, and didn't do a damn thing about it. Talk is cheap until you do something about it. So year 2016, I got my head out of my ass, meaning I quit drinking, going on 9 years sober now, and one of the best moves I ever made in my life.
Yeah,
I'll
good
tell
for
you
you.
what,
That's yeah.
thank you. And I went to work. Went to work and I started doing the research, and believe me, what an education. It's, yeah, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. These big companies that started out, they had a hell of a lot more money than this little guy. But you know, I'd worn some of that gear in or about 2007. Jumping back, Minnesota Tim, he was a big boy for the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and that Minnesota chapter there. So he'd always come out and hunt rosies with us. And Gunnar, you crazy little shit, what the hell? You need to wear this stuff. So he threw me a set of Sitka gear, and I wore it. Was like, God, this is exactly what I had in mind. But God, you just sweated in it, that original run stuff, and it worked great keeping us dry from the rain and all the wet brush. But I'll tell you what, I just sweated in it, so I hated that. I noted that, so that I needed something better. And then over a period of time, it just got punctured, pierced, and torn, and now I'm just soaking wet. Why the hell am I even wearing this stuff? So yeah, we got to do something better. And it was that open country camo pattern, and it just didn't blend very well. So got to work and started, figuring out camo patterns, and some were well above my pay grade. That yeah, I'm gonna have to pay somebody to further develop these. But we have it all documented and examples and whatnot, and nonetheless, that's kind of, well, that's exactly where everything originated. And back jumping back up to 2016, had to get to work, and there's this thing called Google University. How the hell do you how do you get from here to there and all that good fun stuff? Useful tool. I listened to a gal, Ty Haney, on Guy Raz's How I Built This. Her company's Outdoor Voices. So God, what a huge inspiration on finding a pathway into this industry. And I also had some connections from the maritime industry, worked with Mike Morrow, who's the head design and graphics for Nike. We did a
Hmm.
project for wave generator. We set their gear, their instrument on the bottom, and the ocean waves, create electricity. It worked. It powered up a building at Camp Raialea, military base nearby, for whatever it was, a week. It did its job. So, in working with him, he connected me with, the materials shows. So I really got to go and talk to these fabric partners or fabric people, rather. They aren't partners yet, and start rubbing shoulders and asking the questions that I learned from Ty Haney, and dig into the fabrics and what the hell I needed to use to create a top-notch product that would endure the brush here on this wet, rainy, and wicked and wild Oregon coast. So we started there, and just grew on from there. Started meeting people and networking, and hell, even took a design class, online design class to further it. Bootstrapping isn't a traditional route to get in this business, unless you're doing apparel. But
Mhm.
yeah, lots to learn. Again, a very serious education, and learned a lot from that, and just grind and charge hell with a bucket of water till you get to where you need to be. And still got a long ways to go and a lot of work to do. But by God, this is sure one fun journey, man. So, and here we are today. Took a while to get here. Selecting the fabrics, getting to talk to a designer, which they're booked out a year in advance because they got other clients they need to make stuff for, and you need to be able to speak their language and talk the talk and ask the right questions to get anywhere with them and get time on their books. So slowly but surely, continued asking the right questions, meeting the right people, making the right connections, and yeah, we came up with one hell of a robust set of rain gear, which was one hell of a mountain to climb, especially with COVID in the mix when production stopped and factories had to pivot to making PPE for COVID, for the pandemic, for all the local area hospitals. So yeah, that put us behind quite a bit, but divide and conquer, keep grinding, and that's what we did. And did a soft launch last September 9th with the website, and we actually have product made here in Oregon, and everything's sourced in the USA and made here in the USA and cut and sewn in Oregon at a factory called Watershed. So very happy about it.
Yeah, that's super cool. And there's some key things I want to point out in there. So, one, it sounds like you were too determined to quit. So you kept getting told, oh, maybe later, maybe just being told no. And you just kept pushing after it. So there's definitely some perseverance in that story. And also, and this is something that I'm going to brag about you a little bit. For those listening who don't know you, Gunnar, you are so personable. When I met with you last year before my Montana hunt, I was trying to pick up, I forget which camo pattern. I think it was spruce that I got.
Hemlock.
And I was texting you. What's that?
It was hemlock. Yeah.
Oh, it was hemlock. Okay, thanks. And I just happened to be in the area, and you were texting me. We were going back and forth, and you met me after your daughter's soccer championship game, I believe. They won.
Yeah.
And you were just so personable, so nice, saying hi to my wife, saying hi to my 2-month-old daughter, like salt of the earth, great guy. And I think that was probably pretty helpful. Like you said, you're kind of rubbing elbows with the right people. Well, you're the kind of guy that you're curious and you're really personable. So I'm sure that definitely helped you out. So for those listening, if you want to start a business, you should definitely be personable, just like Gunnar. And you definitely need to be determined and kind of be not afraid to be told no and to push the boundaries. Because when Gunnar was starting this, rain gear was not breathable. And Gunnar's rain gear, I haven't had the chance to try it yet. Everything, all the testing I've seen you do and stuff, looks like it's pretty top tier. So takes time. You kind of pushed the mold a little bit and essentially created your own mold. So those are definitely some things that you're not going to say it, so I'll brag for you that those are some things that are standout qualities that I've noticed just from the outside looking in.
Wow, man. Thanks. Very nice to say. And I truly appreciate that. Means the world. And yeah, like we talked about in the beginning before you hit record, it's all about helping people. And that's what we truly like to do. I mean, that servant attitude. That's yeah. I mean, that's what we do. Couldn't imagine life any other way. That's what it's all about. So I like to give everyone another opportunity or another offering rather than just buying the same old rain gear. And yeah, well, we can delve a little bit more into that later. But that it's truly about helping people. And right here on the coast, you definitely need a different caliber of rain gear to hunt.
Yeah.
It rains around here, and that when you rub up against that brush, hell, it's like someone dumping a 5-gallon bucket of water on you. So you better have some good gear, stay comfortable, and stay on the hunt. And yeah, yeah, and you asked about the name, so I'd love to tell you about that. Didn't mean to leave that
Yeah,
hanging,
please
but
do.
you
Please tell
know,
that story. I love it. I think it's the absolutely perfect way, especially when I was guiding for Mike Jenkins. I
yeah.
just I kept thinking like Gunnar just nailed it with this just branding for this product. It's perfect. So, yeah, go ahead, dive into it. Please expand as much as you want. This is a great story.
Cool. Yeah, we were, my twin brother Gary and I, the old man, he let us hunt deer, and I mean, hell, I've been packing a 30-30 since I could prove, that I was safe. I could handle a firearm safe, with the Red Ryder BB gun at age 7. So he'd take me with him and put me on an old grove first stump. So been packing a firearm for many a year, and he wouldn't let us hunt elk right out of the gate because it's fast pace, high energy, hard charging, and tough country. So we're used to tough. Like I say, we cut some firewood and all that stuff. But when you're moving with elk and staying on them, you're gonna have to move a little quicker than what one thinks. We call it
Yeah.
Spain, running with the bulls. And when they're moving, you're moving. But nonetheless, uh, that first morning, our very first elk hunt, we were on the Meehan main line. It's Native American for something, Meehan. I can't remember off the top of my head. Forgive me, but nonetheless, we're sitting there in the dark, and we're gonna walk this old cat grade out to this newer clear cut. There's a main line coming into that clear cut, a couple miles away. So this old grade, he's dumping us off there, and gonna walk in, and we're hunting from the bottom. He's hunting from the top. And he says, just remember, boys, we're not hunting herds. We're hunting lone bulls. So, second season, they're branching off, splitting up. And I've never forgot that. It just meant something, especially coming from my hero mentor that taught me to hunt, my dad. So Lone Bull was the name that I chose to kick this off. It was between that and Hemlock. And since it's so deciduous, but um, yeah, I filed with the U.S. Uh, patent and whatever office, attorney's office there, and some dude down in Arizona had a bead shop, uh, and he just happened to sell ponchos, just cheap ass rain gear with a Brahma bullhead on it. His shop was called Lone Bull. I couldn't use it. God, I was heartbroken. Just what in the hell am I gonna do now? And kicking things around. When you're forcing something, it just doesn't come. So that maritime program that I work at, we take a Christmas break, and that's a beautiful time when the kids are all gone and I got some time to hike. Yeah, we hit the hills, and we hiking. We put in some miles, and I was in one of my favorite perches, looking in this pocket here, and there's a bull in there, and stuck out like a diamond in a goat's ass, just bleach white, cool, clear, crisp sun. So he stood out in that sea of green, and I'm watching and watching, and he finally stands up, and he uh, he was just a big old 7x7, beautiful bull, and never seen that one before. And like I said, it's it's postseason, and we're looking around to see who made it, which bulls didn't get shot, or who survived. Our target bulls and all that. But I've never seen that guy, and I'm sitting there, holy smokes, he's a dandy. Where did you come from? God, you are a ghost. So, wife's calling me, where the hell are you? And I took an ass chewing. I was a couple hours late because I sat there and watched him until he walked off. But that ghost bull. Lo and behold, that was the name that I had in my head all the way down the mountain. And I get home and talk to my dad, my brother, and my brother Gary. He's my twin, and twins think alike. I said, yeah, Gunny, what do you think? I had a name pop in my head, Ghost Bull. And I'm thinking, brother, I just saw a Ghost Bull, and yeah, that's the winner right there. We're gonna run with Ghost Bull, and so yeah, and there's some big ghosts out there. They don't get that big by being dumb. They are freaking mature animals, and yeah, they're hard. It's damn near to impossible to get one after you've had bow season. All a month long deer season when they open up the gates and people are driving around, and then you got first season elk. Well, we always choose second season because you got 7 days. So it's truly 7 days to go hard, and yeah, that pressure's really shoved them animals into some tough areas, and you really got to give it hell and hunt different. And wind's always the biggest factor rather, and you better have some damn good gear to keep you on that hunt from daylight to dark, so you even have a chance. So that's Ghost Bull, man. That's where we got the name.
Yeah, I think that's so awesome because so I had only hunted Rocky Mountain elk, and then I volunteered to be a guide for an outfitter, and we ended up in Saddle Mountain Unit, so that was pretty cool. And I just remember hearing, I think Mike showed us all. He's like, "This is the camo you guys need to be buying for next year." And he had one of your biddles. It was one of like the first production ones that you had. And he goes, "Watch this." He takes it, he puts it on blackberries, and then he walks away. And he goes, "Okay, go find it." And we couldn't find it. So we're like,
Wow,
"Mom, you didn't put the camo up there." He's like, "No, no, it's there." And he walked over and pulled it on. We're like, "Okay, there it is." So right
love
there,
it,
that was like the proof is in the pudding, right? So he's
love
telling us about you, and we're thinking, this is pretty sweet. Just a hardworking guy, works around the like you said, like maritime industry, and then you're just doing this thing that you're really passionate about. Well, we're looking at this, and I think he had a hat he was wearing or something, and it says Ghost Bull One Track Mind. And that part is the part that stuck out to me the most because we'd be walking around up and down drainages, get to the bottom of these creek drainages, and it's not thick anymore, right? It's just this beautiful open creek drainage. There's clover that tastes like green. It's just beautiful, right? And then we're like, well, we're not seeing any trails here. And then we see one track, and then our heart rate's just up. We're like, oh my gosh, what's going
it.
on? So I think your branding for this towards like rosy hunters is spot on, which I mean, you've done hunting in Astoria all your life, right? So definitely shows that you know what's going on. But I just wanted to congratulate you on just the perfect marketing for that specific target audience. Oregon coast, Alaska, Washington, it's perfect. North Idaho, it's great. I used it in Northwest Montana. And now I think I'm going to get into my testimony for your stuff. And then we can talk about your products a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of a break here.
Cool.
So, if you remember last year, I got that pit. You said was it hemlock? Is that what you said?
It was hemlock. Yep.
Yeah. So I got that one, and then the first one I had was I think the fur. I think Mike bought it for me at what was that store that sold it in Astoria? M
M&N
and
workwear, gun and boot.
yeah,
Yep.
M and workwear. Yeah. So Mike
Yep.
picked one up for me, and then I got the hemlock. So I told my brother he had never really done big game hunting before. I was like, okay, we got general tags. We're going to Northwest Montana. It's steep and deep. It's thick and nasty. Wear this shirt. He's like, okay, fine. So he wore my fur pattern, and I wore the hemlock. And before that, I had worn my hemlock, and I called in an elk to like 30 yards, and I'm standing right off of a pine at full draw and never saw me. So I'm like, sweet, got an arrow in him. Things are looking good.
Oh
So then the
yeah.
next day, we're all excited. We're on a high. We just packed meat. We went back the next morning, found it. So then that night, my brother's like, "All right, cool, it's my turn." So I'm like, "Okay, yeah, we'll do our best." So I do a cold calling session, and I must have been calling for almost an hour, just cow calls, and then I'd ramp it up, and then do a couple bugles, do some raking with the scapula I found one time.
Cool.
Just I'm laying down in these 3 foot tall I think they're pine, 3 foot tall pines. I'm just laying there because my tag's filled, and I'm just raking when I feel like it's time, just laying there calling. And then I see this bull came in silent, comes across the edge of this clearing, and you can see him like navigating through the little saplings and the cedars. And then he comes out right above me and he just beelines and stops 8 yards from me.
Holy
And he's
smokes, dude.
salivating and he's just, lungs are just huffing and puffing. Like, this dude's gonna run me over right now. Well, he's looking for the cow, right? So I'm trying to like half crouch, squat, and just hide myself. And I really think having that pattern, because 8 yards away, an elk's gonna see you, right?
Yeah.
I think having that pattern really helped me because that bull stood there for almost a minute before my brother was able to get the good angle and get his range for a shot. So that's my testimony. After that, an elk 8 yards away looking at you, knowing there's something there and not seeing me, I'm sold. So for me,
Love it,
that was
man.
awesome.
Love it. Love it. And you know, that's we have a lot of testimonials like that. A lot of my archery customers just tons of stories. Yeah, I'm busted out in the open, and that animal couldn't make me. Just standing there, kind of confused, staring at me, and I drew. Didn't move, and I killed it. You know, so perfect. That's the way it works. You know, it's actually natural. Sized foliage rather than you know all this micro and macro hexagon chicken wire looking type stuff, and you know all these copycat patterns. You know, it just honestly, it's the real deal, and we use real color because deer and elk are colorblind, and the only advantage they really have over us is at night. You know, but you can't hunt at night, so we don't have to worry about them spotting if it's too green or whatnot. They can't make it. So found that a lot of people or a lot of people testimonials and talk about animals being confused, and yeah, I don't like being seen by other hunters as well either. You know, you crawl through a shithole and you pop out and you got to hike a road a little ways back to dive into your next one. I don't want someone scoping me or putting glass on me when I'm coming out of that canyon. You know, I want to be a ghost myself. So yeah, you know, the camo works. And there's actually a bull, Tiberius, a big 6x8 that I've been after. You know, for this will be year 4. Uh, big 6x8, beautiful bull. I want him bad, but he's smart, and that's his track in the logo. And you know, took a lot of miles and a lot of time to find that perfect track for that logo, and you know, thousands of pictures just to get it right. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's him. But you know, I tracked him from that old tree farm and over hill and dale and tracked him into this just nasty timber swamp. And I mean, it's just choked full of salmonberry and shit. You can't even move hardly, and you're making noise. But when those elk are in that stuff, they're making noise too, and they can't hear you coming. And next thing you know, you're right there within them. And God, I love brush hunting, and that happens a lot, you know. And as long as you got that wind in your face, right? But you know, here he is standing there about 20 feet away from me, and it was April 14, 2018, and I was looking for sheds. I tracked him into that swamp, and he's just down there. He's already, you know, got his double eyes and the main beam going up. Bigger bulls drop earlier, and man, I'll tell you what, I snapped about 1,000 pictures of him, and there was a camo pattern right there. It's so it happened naturally, organically, and real deal. So there's a giant bull elk in that camo pattern, the original, and it didn't really need to be developed. I didn't need to spend an exorbitant amount of money to develop it, you know, like these other patterns I have. So through hunter input, I asked people, "What do you guys think about this one?" And everyone said, "Oh my God, that's a go." Yeah, so we ran with it, and happy about it. You know, it's a cost savings and it works. So proud to have it on that old Biddle shirt, and we'll have it on some pants here soon. We can jump into that a little bit later when you're ready.
Yeah, so one thing I want to touch on before we move into your products, I want you to explain your product line, and just touch on a little, couple things that set you apart. But before we get there, one thing I want to point out is you intentionally have dark colors like shadows in your camo patterns, and that's something
Hmm.
that you just don't see very often. but it's extremely beneficial for like thick country, brush country, because for those of you that haven't hunted it, if you go out in thick brush country, even if it's the middle of the day, there's shadows everywhere because there's branches and brush and this and that. So having those darks intentionally placed on that camo adds to the effect of this is something that is naturally there. And that I think helps trick the animal's eyes, because a lot of camo patterns, it'll just be a slightly different color, but the difference is there's no shadows. So then it's
Hmm.
easier to pick it out, right? But having those shadows placed on there, and it sounds like it was not accident, but it was just done by just observing nature. Um, that's what helps your camo pattern, I believe, to be a little bit more successful. And I think that's what helped me, because there's the green of the leaves or of the pine, let's see, of the pine needles when I was laying there, and then there's the brown of the branch, and then there's some shadows intermixed, and it helps you disappear. So that's something that is, it's not, you're not the only person out there that does it, but I think you do it the best out of any camo that I've seen. And I've looked at more camo than my wife would like me to brag about. We'll just put it that way.
Right, I understand. Remember, I'm married to a city girl, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
you know
am too.
the
The girl's she's new to the hunting stuff. She's pretty cool with it. She likes the taste of it, but she
cool.
doesn't like how much I try to leave.
Yeah, right. Well, put a bow in her hand and get her out there, and she'll harvest her first animal. She'll be hooked for life, you know. And
Oh, we're working on it. Don't believe you and me. That's we're working that way.
I love it, man. And you know, just yeah, there's just nothing like it, and you can do it for the rest of your life. Yeah, where some hobbies or passions or whatnot, you can't, you know. Hell, I'll die out there. I plan on dropping dead in an elk canyon the day that I go home. So, you know, but that's just that, and yeah, I truly live for it. It's the only real deal in this crazy world, like we've mentioned before. But yeah, you know, the negative spaces, the darks, doesn't matter what the weather's doing, whether it's raining or sunshine. You know, I mean, there's so much reflection off all the foliage and leaves and everything, and there's so much refraction, more, you know, the bending of light more than one would know. And you know, add moisture when it's rained. You know, those ferns. How many times have you been going through a deep, dark timber and you know a lot of sword ferns? You know what the hell they are, but
Yeah.
the way that refraction and reflection are happening, you know, it almost looks like a an elk's ass or something, you know, just for a split second, and it catches you off guard. So you know those dark spaces actually work, and again, it's 100% natural. And hell, we're in the rainforest here, man. You know, it's green all year round. People kind of turn their nose up sometime at why aren't you using dull dead colors, normal camo pattern colors? Well, I'm not a copycat, and you know, take a look around. It's green everywhere, and you nailed it. You know, with all those shadows as well. There's tons of shadows. You just gotta look for it. You know, and hey, you know, animals they're colorblind again, so they're not worried if it's green or not. Stop and think of the old red flannel shirt days. You know, as
Yep.
long as you're not wearing blue, you're good. But hey, we like using real colors in our camo and to match the geography. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I just wanted to explain it because while you're here, like I can talk about it as much as I want, but I also didn't design it. So it's nice to have you to explain a little bit more of like my observations. So now that we've kind of gone through that, I want you to get into your product line. So I mentioned you have the biddle, you've got the rain gear, and you did mention the pants, which I've been bugging you about for 2 years now. And I
Yep.
need you to tell me as soon as you're ready to drop them, because I'm going to buy a pair or two. I'm going to be your first customer. So
I
yeah, why don't you
love
get
it.
into the biddle and then move into the rain gear? We'll just go like chronological order of how things came out, because I think that helps with like the evolution of your business growing as well. So I'd like you to tell the story in that way.
Cool.
And
I
while you get some
appreciate that.
water, so keep going.
Okay. So I, you know, started out with hats, hoodies, tees, you know, the normal apparel, the brand build, you know, raise a little working capital, and you know, to get some presents out there, you know. And a lot of people, why don't you put your camo on hats and hoodies? And you know, I looked at it, I considered it, but boy, that was a different cost. So you know, long ago, in 2016, I did choose to make it American. I hate flying, and why, after reading Phil Knight's Shoe Dog, why the hell would I want to get on a plane to go deal with business? That's another stress and more cost. So we decided to make it American anyway. Always been a believer in that best quality is made in America. Plus, it creates jobs. Anyway, so I looked at that both made overseas for the camo on apparel and stateside, and yeah, 30,000 difference in the cost, and that was another big expense that took me off the path of my original idea, rain gear, right? So that's the problem we started with, and that's where we began. Much like First Light, started with merino wool. So our product is the shell, rain gear, and the putting camo on hats and hoodies and stuff. Yeah, that just took us off the path. So lo and behold, I tried to find a solution. I like to make customers happy, and it's a valid idea. Why wouldn't I want to do that? Lo and behold, my neighbor kid here, he's on the collegiate bass team, bass pro bass masters or whatever they are, hardcore bass fisherman. He loves bass like I love elk, and he's wearing this jersey, and I'm like, what's the story behind that? And his dad, oh yeah, this is Michael's new jersey. Hey, Michael Postaway, I hope you watch this. You will when I tell you about it. But hell of a fisherman. Anyway, his dad says, yeah, this is Michael's new jersey, and yeah, it's this company's in Brainerd, Minnesota. They make the U.S. Ski Olympic skeet teams jerseys as well. I think they do camo. You should take a look at them. So I did, and I'm like, all right, well, rain gear is going to take a little while to make. Let's do something. Let's get some camo on something so we can get it out there and get people used to it and see what they think. And by God, I called them up, and they were great to work with. Again, in Brainerd, Minnesota, and they took care of me, and they bent over backwards. They were excited about it. They'd never done a hunting product. Skeet shooting is about as close to hunting as they had produced. So we went to work and we created the old biddle, and a biddle, that's the old biddle main line. I still hunt there big time today. That's where when I was 3 years old, we're standing above that old farm there looking at a herd of 55 elk. Couple nice bulls in it, and above that farm, and checking out Crown Zellerback's brand new tower yarder. So that was 1973. So been on the Biddle ever since. Still hunt the hell out of it, and that's why that shirt's named the Biddle. It's where I cut my teeth. And it's a base layer, and some people, we all run different temperatures. Some people run a little hotter and cooler. So basically a base layer, actual hunting garment that is 50 UPF. That's the highest rating sun protection you can get, from UVA and UVB rays, which will age you or give you cancer and all that good fun stuff. Beats the hell out of slathered on sunblock that an animal's going to smell a mile away anyway, if you get the wind wrong. But so it gives you some protection. It has a hood. Didn't really intentionally want a hood, but that's the one we ran with, and it's very durable. I mean, durable as hell. This shirt I'm wearing, my work uniform here. I drive a desk in a tugboat and a ship and whatnot, and I mean, it's my sleeves are just full of picks and pulls, and it's one of the number one brands out there. Nothing against them, but I beat the hell out of Biddle there, and there's not a pick or a pull on it, So, and I'm punching through stickers and cutting trails, and so it's durable as hell, and it breathes well, and it stretches. So a lot of my archery guys and gals say that it doesn't affect their draw length. They actually love it. It fits better than all the other brands they've used, and doesn't affect that draw length whatsoever. And I'm happy to hear that. And yeah, it's American made. And I'll tell you what, I was, made a rookie mistake. I was a couple hours away from the truck there, and knew it wasn't going to rain. Yeah, right. Till the afternoon. Made a morning hunt and had a ways back to go, and it started dumping premature of the forecast. And yeah, I didn't bring a rain jacket with me, of course. So it was dumping hard. It didn't soak through everything underneath. was bone dry. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that it's water resistant, but it sure had some water resistant properties that day. It impressed the hell out of me. So it's a good quality product that you wear as a base layer or a mid layer. I when the weather gets a little cooler, I like to wear a merino tee underneath it, and yeah, it works beautifully on this coastal climate with the temp swings and whatnot, and does the trick. So that was our very first garment, and was happy to bring that to the market. And small guy hair, we made I think 25 and sold out just like that. And sure enough, we started taking pre-orders, and then M&N they bought some there. My first retailer that gave me a break. So cool, great family, love them, and big help. And yeah, we were off in there running then. We actually had a actual hunting product rather than just apparel. So still, a few mountains to climb with that was 2019, excuse me, but to get through this COVID thing, which hugely disrupted production. So it was nice to have that middle garment, but we just got our foot in the door with USIA, who made, in my opinion, the best damn waders ever known to man. They're no longer in existence, unfortunately, and they made dry suits and wetsuits, so they knew a thing or two about waterproofness. So
Hold on, Gunnar.
worked with them for until COVID hit, and
Gunnar,
that
hold
shut
on.
everything.
Let me cut you off here. I want to chime in before you move on to the rain gear.
Heck yeah.
So, one thing about Gunner's sweatshirts, and didn't mention this, I'm not surprised. The hoodies that Gunner sells or that Ghost Bill sells, they're really thick hoodies. So, oftentimes I've been various brands, and one thing, like one brand, I'm not going to say the name, but there's a brand out there that makes puffy jackets that like everybody wears, and they're not warm at all. You have to wear like three things under it, anyways, when it's 40 degrees. It starts with a P in case anybody's like really curious. Gunner sweatshirts are super warm. So they're really durable, they're really warm. They cost a little more than a regular hoodie, but you're warm. So that's something where Gunner really focuses on quality, and that's something that you'll notice. With these biddles, they're a little thicker. Again, you mentioned that yours don't have like those pricks and pulls. Well, they're a
Hmm.
better material and they're a little heavier, a little thicker, but like you said, they're durable. So I was wearing other brand shirts and cotton t-shirts, and my shirts were just getting just pricked and pulled, and I almost want to just throw them away because they were getting really messed up. But that biddle, I like you said, mine, I have nothing on it that makes it look like it's not brand new. So that's something that I think is great. Again, both of those products are a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker, but you're getting that quality of it's not going to just rip on anything. I would wear that hoodie that you sell to go fix like barbed wire fence. And no, if I get it hooked on there, it's not going to just rip my sleeve, right? So, those are definitely some things that I'm not surprised you didn't say this. You don't like to brag about your products, but I'll brag for you. They're really durable and they're meant to be used. So I like to tell my wife, I'm not going to spend blank amount of dollars for this shirt because I'm not going to want to do my activities with it because I just spent $40, $50 on that shirt. Well, with these products, with that hoodie, you're going to spend a little more than a traditional hoodie, but you're not going to be afraid to go fix fence, go scouting, go whatever because it's a durable, high quality shirt. Same with the Biddle. The Biddle, I think, actually is in line with other hunting brands' prices. I think it's really close. I think it's actually really comparable, but it's a little heavier and it's really durable. So you were mentioning like the temperatures. I wear that one with no base layer for my September and first week or two of October, and I'm fine. If I'm cold, like you said, I'll put a t-shirt or maybe like a merino wool long sleeve under it, and I'm good to go for me until probably 40 degrees, and I'm totally fine. So again, those are things I want to point out. Those are different things about yours, why I like your stuff, and why I wanted to have this conversation with you, and why I'm not trying to have other brands out there. So now I feel free to get into rain gear, but I had to mention those things for you because I knew you were going to skip them.
I I love it, man. I appreciate that, and thank you, Stefan. Yeah, and the Biddle shirt, we just did that Hoyt Northwest Mountain Challenge up there at Hoodoo, and
Mhm.
it's pretty high temps up there, and I love that you mentioned the thicker. A lot of guys were a little bit leery of that, but they bought the shirts and they went up high, and it was hotter than hell, and they loved it. They couldn't believe how well it performed. So yeah, we damn near sold out. I got to restock inventory here soon, but inventory is tricky for a little guy like me, and yeah, I look forward to growing and getting better and being able to do better at that. But nonetheless, guys were happier than hell with it. Kept them cool and it did the job up there, even though it is a little bit heavier. So that definitely is worth mentioning, and I appreciate that. And yeah, the sweatshirts. We picked one brand, and originally, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's fashion or workwear or whatnot. You know, if you use a fabric softener in your wash, the enzymes from that or that whatever the chemicals or detergents from that break down the enzymes of the fabrics a lot quicker. And most garments are only made to last 40 washes nowadays. So on my original hoodie, it's a good solid brand, independent trading company. And they aren't cheap. They're pretty proud of them too. So you buy blanks to have printed. They're not cheap. Just straight from that that uh, that source there. So yeah, my original ones lasted 186 washes. Still going strong. Barely faded and great product. But yeah, let's dive into the rain gear. So you betcha. So let me think. Where do we want to start? We were working with USIA,
Perfect. Yep.
and we started patterning and designing, laying out the design and the pattern, and played with it, and was working with an awesome gal, Lori McFarland, and she she knew exactly what to do, and she started going to work on it, and then COVID happened and couldn't touch it, and then they told me that no, yeah, I'm sorry, Gunnar, we're not going to be able to touch you for quite a while here now, and that was heartbreaking. So to get that far, which is a challenge in itself, and then to have to basically start all the way over, yeah, that's that's tricky. Similar to hunting sometimes, when you blow an animal out, you're done for the day. You better let it cool down a little bit. So, uh, and actually, somewhere in the mix there too, yeah, we the fabric that I had selected, which was an American made, phenomenal fabric, and I was warned by the company's rep that I won't be able to put camo on it, so you might have to run, excuse me, solids. But you can try digital printing, and so I found a place in Hillsboro. They did digital printing, and that's actually the lowest heat transfer that you could put camo on fabric with. So he did it at a very light temperature, and it worked fine. We just did like a checkerboard pattern to save money, just a test sample, and it was great. Yeah, I ran water under on it for 20 minutes and didn't leak, so I think we're good. Well, we got to do things a little bit differently, and the Pacific Northwest is a laboratory unto itself, and so we tested it furthermore, and shit, it only lasted what was it, 2 hours and 59 minutes, 1 minute under shy of 3 hours, and it leaked like a sieve. I'm like, now we got to start over with fabric. So, oh boy, we're starting over with production and fabric. So, thank God we hunted and hunted and hunted like we do, and started piecing things together, and wasn't really anywhere yet. And USIA cranked back up. They called me back in. Yeah, let's get back to work. That was awesome, And so the CEO Eric paired me up with a great company that's been around forever on the East Coast, Ocean State Innovations, and I talked to the president, Brian Boulis, and good friend of Eric. So networking, right? It works if you're not a shitbag. You get to meet people and work with them. It's pretty cool. I love living this way. But nonetheless, yeah, I told him what I needed, and he started sending me sample after sample after sample, and nothing was really taking shape or form. It wasn't checking my boxes. So he's a busy man as the president of the company. They got stuff going on too with the climate change and after the pandemic settled down, and he handed me to his brother Nick, who's the vice president, and Nick was awesome. Okay, Nick, I needed to check these 7 boxes, or actually 8, but I wanted stretchability, but we couldn't get that, so we got 7 boxes checked, and he sent me so many damn samples. I tested it to my abilities, and I think the longest that it was waterproof. And these are the same fabrics that are on the market that are with the big brands right now. I think the lengthiest test ran for 4 hours and it soaked through. So I'm like, that ain't gonna work. So he finally sent me this one, and I had Lori cut it, sew it, and seam tape it, and I for further testing, right? Because that's what it's going to be on the actual garment. And we put it to work, and that son of a bitch is still going strong. So we're 2 years, 4 months, and it hasn't leaked through once. Yeah, I mean, I played with some rubber type fabrics just to gain a little extra water proofing, and then you're dealing with sweating at zero
Yeah.
breathability, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Let's get away from that. So I haven't really found any fabric that has lasted that long. So we're tickled pink with what we chose. We've selected well and are proud to bring it to the market and help hunters out stay bone dry. Eh,
Yeah, so let's dive in about what makes your rain gear unique from other companies' rain gear. And one thing that sticks out to me is you have an image on Instagram and it's your rain gear folded up. And I think your caption said something like, "My rain gear doesn't fold up to fit in your pocket because
eh,
this rain gear is meant for brush busting," right?
Yep.
Yeah,
We get
so
asked all the.
why don't you
Go ahead.
dive into that a little bit, explain a little more than what I just said, so that way people understand how your rain gear is different and the purpose of your rain gear compared to if I was going to buy like frog togs because I'm going to go hiking in a light drizzle on this trail that's perfectly groomed, in Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah, that open country stuff, frog togs will work just fine for that. But like I said, this is the problem that we solved, and I've worn every damn brand on the market besides the two latest because I've started my own company, right? There's no need. But the companies that do make rain gear don't live here or hunt here. I do. So by God, that's why we built it to endure this brush, to withstand the amounts of rains that we get. Because yeah, it rains like a cow pissing on a flat rock around here. It gets with it, and you're not in a little simple little downpour that's going to last 15 minutes. You're getting dumped on all day. Add that wet brush you're rubbing up on. And what happens when you get an animal down too? You owe that animal the respect to get it out, and we winch out nowadays. We don't bone or anything like that, so we shoot them where you see them, and they're in hellholes. So yeah, you're in the brush, and you don't got time to baby your rain gear when you're getting that animal out. You want to get it to the skin and pole and get it taken care of with great respect for that animal. So yeah, we built something that actually is robust, that actually endures this brush, that actually can handle the atmospheric rivers that we get nowadays. That's that new term with
Yeah.
every ounce of moisture in the air that just dumps. I mean, like that one day in testing, I was on Wiki up our a little mountain here. We
Hmm.
got 4.61 inches that day in the while wearing the Wiki Up rain gear, and it was the last day of deer season 2022, and I was jump shooting deer in the reprod because they were hunkered down in that kind of weather, and yeah, stayed bone dry while everyone else, hey, how'd that gear work? Hell, I had to go back to rubbers. I'm still soaking wet, and yeah, we stayed bone dry working the reprod, but Wiki Up is Native American for uh, temporary shelter. Well, daylight to dark's temporary enough, so that gives you all day to hunt and stay comfortable. But we built this gear to keep you dry. It has to be waterproof. It is waterproof. It has to be durable. Durability is huge in this brush. I mean, you got Devil's Club, you've got Himalayan blackberries, you've got evergreens with them big daggers as well. You've got salmon berries. You're rubbing up against the bases of them or crawling through them. They're going to tear the shit out of anything. Hell, even the little wild blackberries that get all tangled up. Hell, and even make elk stumble. They'll pinhole the hell out of your rain gear. I've lost several sets to that, and now it's leaking down into your boots, and your socks are wet, and you're pissed off. It just takes your mind off the hunt. So, Devil's Club, elk will dive into them canyons when you're moving with them. You got to stay with them, and just use your arm and move that stuff out of the way and keep going. But
Yep.
durability, I mean, you need it. Log and slash, crawling through shit that's hasn't broke down yet. That'll grab your fabric and tear a hole in it. Stepping over blowdowns, a busted off limb. How many pants have you ripped out at the seam there while doing that when it snags on that busted off limb stub? So durability was huge. A silent blacktail are the hardest animal to hunt in North America. I don't care what anybody says. They're nocturnal, and to take a mature one, when you do that, you've actually done something. And you are up and down, up and down, up and down. Not unlike climbing mountains all damn day long for sheep. It's all about endurance. So, uh, yeah, blacktail, really wily and smart, and you got to have something silent. So this fabric checks that box. It is silent to the touch. Hell, it's more silent than the fleece faced fabrics that you I ain't gonna say, but then they take forever to dry as well. This stuff gets quieter when it gets wet, and it actually dries quick too. So we had to have that, and we used a waterproof ballistic nylon in perfectly placed panels, making this rain gear a wearable tool, so you can fight that brush and not have to buy new rain gear every other season or every season, whatever happens. So it's the durability is there. Windproof. God, why am I forgetting some things, Stefan? Just excited about talking about it. Always seem to leave some stuff out, but hey, I'm human. But yeah, we've actually built one hell of a great, robust rain gear system for you know any coastal region: Oregon, Washington, Alaska, Canada, the Panhandle. Getting some customers up in the Panhandle. That's cool. Love it. And I'll put it against any rain gear in the world.
Well, sweet. Yeah. I wanted to let everybody know the only reason I haven't bought this rain gear yet is because I archery hunt and I don't need rain gear to hunt in September. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have bought it by now. So, yeah, definitely the best rain gear that I've seen for the type of hunting where people want to hunt all day, want to hunt through that brush. I know a lot of people that say I don't hunt in the rain. Well, I do if it rains and I'll get wet. But if you're hunting the Oregon coast, Washington coast, or even if someplace where it's thick and brushy, where it rains and then the brush is wet for 2 or 3 days, you probably are going to need some really good rain gear. So, yeah, that's definitely the reason for the rain gear. Now, I want to end
Yeah.
this with talking about the pants. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't know why the hell I left off breathability. That's kind of an important one.
That's a
You
big
can
one.
hunt your
Yeah.
bulls off. And we're using event, and every all these fabrics are military grade, so there's some added durability uh, to it as well. You're not just buying some waterproof fabric off a roll. This stuff the military uses in some capacity. We're the first to put these materials together and bring it to this hunting market. So really proud of that. Especially since it's made in USA. But that's adds to the durability and the life of the garment as well. So that we don't put our military men and women in shitty fabric when they're in the goo. I mean they gotta
Right.
fight some tough stuff, but which isn't any indifferent than what we deal with here when we're fighting the brush. But and some of the best hunting is in the rain. I mean, it knocks down the scent, it knocks down the
Mhm.
noise for sure. You know that. So why the hell would you not want to hunt in the rain? I love it when it rains sideways, man. Big storms coming in, I'm hitting the brush hard. That they're hunkered down and you can step on them damn near. So, but I did want to say that we are Alaska tested and proven. And you may have heard it on a different podcast, the Backcountry Hunters podcast. John Barklow mentioned it, and I've known about it for a couple of years with through my event team. Um, yeah, January 1st, 2025, you will not be able to buy good rain gear any longer. for at least a couple of years, is what people are predicting. Simply because of the PTFEs, that's the plastics.
Hmm.
Like the states of California, Maine, they've already done away with it, and there's 6 to 7 other states that are signing on to that as well. So you're not going to be able to buy good rain gear for a while. Well, luckily, since we're American made and uh, um, we fall into the expedition and safety category because it is about endurance management. You got to stay dry to become not fatigued, and that helps you endure the situation on that hunt and stay safe all day long, so you can focus on the hunt and focus on your safety and well-being. So we kind of fall into a different category. We're small. There's a ton of paperwork to do, but we're going to be okay. I'm going to be able to offer you good rain gear and more to follow on that and learn about. But plant-based rain gear, it's not going to last in the brush, and we got the rain gear that does. And when the others are trying to figure out what's going on, we'll be around to help you. That's what we do. We like helping people stay dry. So hunting is life. I can't say it. And I apologize. I dropped the ball on you on regarding that one post you mentioned, packable. I get asked all the time, is your rain gear packable? Well, roll it up. I mean, we're not an ultralight, slap it in your pack type of rain gear. It's built to wear all damn day long. I truly designed it to wear merino wool long handles underneath it, and go like hell. I mean, there's so much functionality and range of motion that it just doesn't bog you or slow you down. Doesn't matter what the ground is like, steep, whatever. It doesn't slow you down whatsoever. It's made to hunt, and very proud of that. And we've tested it in so many different categories. Hell, we ran it on a choker setter. Not too many companies do that in testing. We ran it on a crabber. I mean, I've beat the hell out of it. Still going strong. So again, I'll put it against any rain gear on the market. And yeah, we are a little higher price point, but it's made in America, and it puts people to work. We got 8 sewers that work when we're producing, and I've done everything I can to get the cost down. And I'm transparent as hell as well. That jacket cost me $520 to make. The pants cost me 420 to make. So we're normally you'll make your money back when you price it and then double that. Yeah, we
Yep.
can't do that with those
Yeah.
landed costs. And I'm not out to rob people. I'm simply out to help them. So $7.99 for a jacket and $6.99 for a pants is very fair. You know, we price it to the best of our abilities to be sustainable and provide you quality gear.
Yeah, and one thing on that, and then I want to move on to the pants, is so you mentioned a lot of rain gear lasts one season. So if you're buying a $200 jacket and $200 pants and it lasts you one season, then you just spent $800 in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's going to make up for itself just in a matter of a few years. So that's just something to consider. But before we jump off here, because I'm sure you want to get to dinner with your family, I want to talk about pants because I've been bugging you about pants for so long. So I'm really excited to hear about this. This is just for my selfish purposes. Yeah, what are you doing with pants? What are you kind of thinking about for thickness, kind of intention of time of year to use them? Let's hear it.
Well, I love it. I've designed something, and you can only do so many things with a 6 pocket. So we got a hybrid of a couple different, hunting pants, but with my own ideas. But the fabric is the secret. You guys, everything's American made, and this stuff. If you and I were standing here pulling on this fabric, playing tug of war with it, you couldn't tear it. This shit is strong, and it is breathable. It is comfortable. And I'm really excited to bring it to the market. I hope to have some prototypes out to run on some hunters this upcoming Oregon bow season. So we're working hard on that. Back to that designer issue. So originally we were set to start prototyping and building this on April 3rd, and my head designer Jody, she decided she's semi-retired, but she still likes to dabble and come in and solve problems. And she decided to do a globe-trotting world trip for a vacation. Bless her heart, she earned it. And so that kind of
Yeah.
shut us down on that. And you know, it's kind of a timing thing. You know, to really spread ourselves thin and lose focus on the rain gear. I need to get this rain gear moving to stay alive. That's just the truth. That's business. And with 1,850 people signed up to buy it, where are they? I get it. It's expensive, but it's hard to jump from that and start a new product. So it's kind of strategy, a timing thing to be sustainable and do things right and stay right size. But those saddle mount pants are product number three, and I just spoke with Russ, my factory partner, who's going to build them for us. We're set to go with Jody uh, any damn time. We just have to schedule a design review to go fully in and go through everything and nail it down. So I am shooting for this coming Oregon archery season to run prototypes. So the fabric is phenomenal, and we'll be the first to ever use this fabric in this capacity. Therefore, we're up for an Apex award for it once it's done, and I turn it into that fact or that fabric maker, that fabric partner. They're blown away. So looking forward to getting it out to you guys, and I promise it'll be as soon as possible. We're a little delayed due to strategy, but we'll have it. And truth be told, it will not be camouflage. I At this first leg of this prototyping phase, I I can't have camo made on that yet. It's just not the time for it. But we'll be running it in a solid. One will be a graphite color, which is a darker gray, beautiful, and one will be a ranger green. They're going to be sweet. So camo up top. Solids on the bottom, hell, you'll look like a tree. You'll blend right in to the timber background there. So,
Yeah,
but
especially with the brush. The brush is so thick, the brush is already up to your waist or higher anyway, so
yeah, yep. So looking forward to getting that. That will be product number three. And Steph and I have a entire line planned. I mean, we're talking. The only thing I don't have in the line plan for a full kit for full system is our skivvies yet. We haven't even really thought about that, but that's going to have to take shape or form. But I mean, I even met a fabric partner at the functional fabric fair for a puffy jacket. I wasn't going to do one, but have so damn much demand for it that we got to do something about it, and all about helping the customers and making them happy. So we'll put out a puppy as well, and even some duck gear. We got duck hunters that want a line of duck products. So yeah, we've got some stuff to build. I just can't be Kuyu overnight, man. Good for them. Thanks to Jason for blazing this path for little guys like me. Yeah, very thankful for that. His pioneering of this industry, but yeah, one product at a time. And saddle mount pants are up next, and I'll get those to your brother as soon as possible. I mean it.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm willing to put my name for a couple of those. I'll probably get myself and my brother a pair so we can be twins again next time we hunt Montana. Well, I think that's all I know that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So is there anything else that you want to mention before we jump off here?
Just I'm very thankful to be here, and I do this for you guys and gals. Hunting is life, and yeah, I mean, why not? No one in these coastal regions thought of us and what we need. So we're doing it, and unfortunately, I can't put out a full line today, but we'll build you products that you can use and pass down, and we'll have a women's and a kids line down the road. Not to get too far ahead, and yeah, we will have a showroom, a brick and mortar, headquarters, so people can actually stop in and see it too. But it's all on the plan, and it just doesn't happen overnight. But we're gonna grind like hell to get it done, and take care of our hunting community because hunting is life.
Well, I appreciate that. I think that's a great send off for us. So before we officially end this, Gunnar, why don't you tell people the website? I'll link it in the show notes as well, and then where they can find you on Instagram, and then we'll get you out of here, get some food in your belly.
I, you bet. Thanks, Stefan. It's www.theghostbull.com. Theghostbull.com. So yeah, quickly. We made the mistake of squeezing the trigger too quick, and you know how you check out and see if a name's available on whatever domain, the domain's available, and sure enough, I checked, it was available. I don't know why the hell I didn't do it that day for $1.99. And next time I go back and look, someone bought it and they were selling it. They'd sell it back to me for 1,000. So we had to use the word the. We had to add the word the, just like the meat eater. I guess
Yep.
Renella had the same issues. But so we're the ghostbull.com, and hey, that's it. You know, truth be told. So,
Well,
and I
cool. And then
appreciate you having me, man. Thank you so much.
the Instagram, is it the same thing?
You cut out for a second.
Is your Instagram handle the same thing, the Ghost Bull?
Yep, it is. Yep, the Ghost Bull. So,
Great.
yep.
Yeah, so I'll put these links in the show notes. Everybody check out Ghost Bull hunting equipment. I love it. I'm gonna bug Gunnar about those pants until they show up on my doorstep. And then once those come out, we'll probably do another podcast so that way we can discuss what you did with those pants. So that way we can kind of talk about the secret sauce a little bit. But so thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Gunnar, for taking time out of your day to join me. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And we're closing out on hunting season, so let's get after it pretty soon here. Thanks again.